Now, there's an animal in the picture. So I told you the Khaybar is like a safari. Let's see some more pictures. Oh, here you can see. We're going through the Khaybar. We're going through this safari in Yotvata. And Yotvata is one of the stations where Am Yisrael was in the Midbar. For 40 years, we passed this area. Am Yisrael saw these animals. It's a fascinating thought. It's been proven that there's a lot of animals from Africa, from the savanna area of Africa, that lived in the south of Eretz Yisrael. Think about the jungles of Africa, the savanna of Africa, and the animals that live there. So we have an ostrich here, and we have these animals behind where they call them the Re'em. So we know that Re'emim, it's a different animal, some massive animal. Midrash says that during the Mabul, the Re'em caught on to the Teva and managed to stick its nose so that it could breathe from the Teva, and that's how it survived the Mabul. The Re'em is a special creature. It's not this, whatever this little deer looks like, but it has a name. We need to name all these animals, and the state of Israel is all about speaking in Hebrew and giving Hebrew names. So they feel compelled to use words from Tanakh for different animals. I think it might cause more damage because you're not using the word the way it was intended to be, and it confuses people. And then afterwards you come, I'll tell you, I grew up in Israel since I was a kid. And when I'd sit down to learn Gemara, so I knew Hebrew very well, the Hebrew that we speak in Israel. And it's different to the Hebrew the Mishnah speaks. It's different to the Hebrew that comes up in the Gemara and Midrashim, and it's confusing. And you see names that it doesn't make sense. And so this is one example where they took a word from Tanakh, a Re'em, which is mentioned a few times, Kane Re'emim in Tehillim, Kuf Dalet, it's mentioned many times, and they stuck it to certain animals which we didn't know the names for. Here you can see more of these Re'emim, which just look like deer with straight horns. There's a Re'em and there's a Dishoin. The Dishoin has his antlers, his horns curl. So he gets a different name. Okay. Here we can see what looks like donkeys. They call them an aroid. Now we know the famous Gemara with Reb Chanina ben Dosa, the famous Gemara in Brachas. They told Reb Chanina ben Dosa, there's an aroid over here, and he causes a lot of damage, and he's killing a lot of people. And the Gemara says that the aroid, if he bites you, and then he runs to the water, so if he gets to the water first, then you're going to die, because him biting you is very poisonous. And so Reb Chanina ben Dosa put his foot in the hole, and the aroid bit him, and the aroid died, which was unusual. And then Reb Chanina ben Dosa said, "La ha'aroid memis, ela ha'chet memis." The aroid doesn't kill anybody. A poisonous animal doesn't kill anybody. It's the chataim that we have because we're choite, so we allow forces in nature to take over us, the forces in the world to take over us and to kill us. If we were clear of sin, if we didn't have chataim, so we could live through that, like Reb Chanina ben Dosa. Reb Chanina ben Dosa lived at a whole different level. He told his daughter when she didn't have what to light with, all she had was chometz. She had vinegar. So he said, Misha Omar, la shemen v'idlak, yomer la chometz v'idlak. Vinegar will light just like oil lights. Vinegar doesn't catch fire. But for Reb Chanina ben Dosa, it did. Now, so we know these chazals. We've heard of them. If you haven't, so you heard of them now. And you're looking at this animal that you have on the screen. This is an aroid. This is a poisonous animal that lives in a hole and bites you if you put your foot in, and he's poisonous. This looks like a donkey. So again, we have this confusion that was caused by early on the Zionists in Israel, early on the Zionists before the state of Israel, that didn't actually have bad intentions, but it causes a great confusion because they use words that mean something else, and they use it for these animals. And Aroid definitely, the Gemara is talking about something totally different. These are Ya'elim over here, Ya'el, which is another animal. This actually is probably correct. David Hamelech says in Tehillim Kufdaled, Haram Agvoim LaYa'elim Slime Machsel Ashpanim. So a Ya'el is probably a mountain goat. Okay, here's another thing we can see over here. You can see there's the wolf. We have wolves in Israel. This is called a karakal, which is a wild cat. Now, let me just explain a little bit more. I said this is a safari in Yotvata, and it's called the Chaybar. A Chaybar is not a regular safari. What they do over here is they take these animals and they want to let them loose later on. I mean, not the wild animals, not like this over here. The karakal is actually a bad example because that can cause damage to humans. But they want to take these animals and eventually let them loose. Like the Aroid that we saw, which is a regular donkey, that he's not going to cause damage to anybody. And they want to get him used to living in a big open area, and then eventually they're going to let him out.